And we are live. What's going on, YouTube Live? It's your boy, Billy Rowe. I'd like to welcome you to the first row. Today is Wednesday. And if it's Wednesday, you should know what that means. It's time for your Wednesday word. That's Wednesday word. Jumping straight into it. Tonight's topic is defensive loss. As always with my topics, I like to explain what I mean by my topic. But before I actually jump into my topic, I want to do something a little different. For those who are new to the first row or watching the content for the first time, I want to encourage you to participate. If you're watching live, participate in the live chat, get engaged, get involved. This channel is all about engagement and interactivity. So get involved, get engaged. But number two, I also want to let you know about our upcoming shows for the next week on the first row. We actually will have on Monday a show called Keeping It Real Estate. That's with your boy Key Bryant, or your man Key Bryant. He goes by the man Key Bryant, the realtor. He is actually going to be doing a show on how to sell your house fast and make the top dollar or get the top dollar for that house. And we're actually, next week will be the last Tuesday of the month. So I want to remind you that Intersations will not just be Intersations, it will be Intersation panel. And that will be a topic on resolving mommy and daddy issues. So definitely look forward to those things. I want you guys to be there. Hopefully you guys can watch live, contribute to those conversations as well. But with that, let's jump into tonight's topic, defensive loss. What do I mean by defensive loss? Defensive loss, for me, when I think of that term, I'm really thinking of how do we overcome our defensive attitudes that cause us to lose things or miss out on things in life. That's what I mean by the topic of defensive loss. So tonight, I have about 4 tools for you for the first row for you guys to kind of look at how I see defensive loss and how we can work to get over our own defensive attitudes, or maybe even overcoming some other people's defensive attitudes that we deal with. So this can go either way tonight. So with that, let's jump straight into it. The very first tool that I came up with when it came to defensive loss or overcoming a defensive attitude was you have to avoid the desire, the urge, the struggle to go into counterattack mode. What do I mean by that? The counterattack mode is anytime somebody gives you feedback or anytime somebody gives you and tries to share an insight that they may have into your life because they're looking from a third person perspective. You're kind of like, oh, well, no, that's not me. And you're immediate to throw up walls and immediate to start an offensive attack on, well, how are you telling me about this when you still have this issue or you still have that issue? Or, how are you going to tell me I need to save money when you're broke or I make more than you? And you start going into these counterattack modes. And it's easy to want to go in there because human nature is whenever we feel rejection or that maybe what we're doing can be perceived as disappointing to others, the first thing we want to do is fix it. Unfortunately, a lot of us have learned unhealthy manners of fixing that imbalance or that feeling. So instead of trying to fix it by saying, you know what, I do make good money and I probably should have better credit than that, or I should have a little more money saved and set to the side. Instead of reflecting and taking that feedback and utilizing it, we go on the defensive and say, well, you know what, while you're talking about me, I don't like the way this makes me feel. So I'm going to tit for tat you or quid pro quo this for that you and give you this same feeling by talking about your shortcomings and the things that you need to work on to try to change the topic from you to them. So that is the first tool, is that you have to avoid the feelings or the desire to go into counterattack mode. Be willing to just amp down a little bit, pull your walls down a little bit. Maybe you could have like a knee-high fence instead of like a 17-foot tall wall. And also the other thing about that counterattack mentality is be willing to allow people to come to you. Be willing to allow yourself not only to open up to allow people to come to you, but be willing to allow the offense to come to you. If you're playing basketball and everything is full court press, full court press, full court press from the beginning to the end of the game, most athletes are not conditioned to full court press an entire game. So therefore, you're going to get yourself fatigued. You're going to get yourself worn out. And the thing that you really want to do, which is win the basketball game, you're not going to be able to win that because you're overexerting yourself in defense and you're not leaving enough in the tank for offense. So counterattack mode, that's the first tool that you got to get out the tool belt. We're going to call these tools in your tool belt. That's the first tool to take out of your tool belt and throw it to the side. You don't need to be in a counterattack mode. Be willing to allow the offense to come to you. The second thing that I came up with when I was dealing with this particular concept of defensive loss, second tool that I came up with was understand where to apply your energy. And what do I mean by that? So going back to that offense defense mantra, those, whether you're playing offense or defense, those two activities cost you energy. They cost you time. They cost you energy. They drain you. They take something out of you or away from you. However, there's another area at which we, not in the sports world, but in life, that we don't interact with very often, and that area is indifference. I think partly why we don't interact with it is because we're told we're supposed to be compassionate and connect with other people and you know, try to build these connections. And I'm all for building connections. I'm all for compassion, empathy, sympathy. I'm all for those particular characteristics. However, indifference is different because it's a matter of not allowing yourself to engage in defense and not allowing yourself to engage in offense. It allows you to stand still. It allows you to be in the place, in the moment, and actually simply hear. So indifference in this place is not being callous and like, well, I don't care what they say, and what they say don't make me. I hate to break the bad news. That is not indifference. That is defense, and you're exerting energy. It's not, well, I got some things I'm gonna say to them when I get a chance to say it. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say it now. That's not indifference. That is offense, and it exerts energy. Indifference is just putting yourself in a state of mind to where you're not judging the information that you're getting. You're not judging what is coming at you. You're simply allowing it to come and hear it so that you can absorb it. And then later on, once you've had the time to hear it in its entirety or hear enough of it to make a logical conclusion on where it's going, you got to be careful with that because you can slide into defense immediately. But when you hear it enough to know where it's going, then you remove yourself out of indifference and you logically or intelligently make the decision if you need to go on offense or if you need to go on defense. So that's the second tool. It's understand where to apply your energy or how to apply your energy, I guess you could say as well. But the third tool that I came up with regarding defensive loss, which really is kind of along the lines of understanding where to apply your energy, but it's a little different. It's find your balance. And the reason I say find your balance is because sometimes when you're in this indifferent state, you know, it's easy to lean and become a pushover. And then sometimes it's easy to lean in the other direction and become a bulldozer. So you have to find the balance where, you know, you're not a pushover. Nobody's just walking over you like a doormat and just, oh, well, this is what I think about you. And you stay there and take it. And strangers, this is what I think about you. It's like, well, okay, at some point, everybody's opinion about me can't matter more than my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and to choose which opinions I really want to listen to. And that doesn't mean you listen to only people who make you feel good and tell you you're stars and rainbows and everything's great about you. But it just means you really invest in listening to the people who have really invested time and energy and love and care in your well-being. So really finding the balance is that finding the difference between standing up for yourself and having confidence in who you are and being clear and concise about who you are, who you want to be, where you want to go, what it is that you want to do. And then having that other balance of being able to be humble enough to hear a different perspective or hear other vantage points that are looking at you and be able to reflect honestly with that information and apply that to your life. So it's finding that balance of not being too much of what everybody else wants you to be and not being so stubborn about what you want to be that you can't hear what anybody else has to say about you. That's what the finding balance aspect is. And then the fourth and the final tool that I came up with regarding defensive loss, it was actually about taking time to process. And I feel like this is an area that I actually struggle in, is because I'm like a semi-automatic weapon where it's like you shoot, it goes bam, bam. The slide goes back and goes forward before your eye can really even see it. And so taking the time to process, it just means simply not being overreactive and not feeling like everything that's coming at you requires your immediate attention. It requires your immediate analysis. Now, if there's something that obviously it's immediate and it does require your immediate attention because you'd be in physical jeopardy or something bad could happen to you, then obviously taking time to process, you know, if there's a split-second decision that needs to be made, you can't be like, well, if I make this decision, then, and if I make that decision, then. No, you got to make that decision. But if there's not, when it comes to people speaking to you or giving you their opinion about you or telling you something that they may think they see in you, whether it's true or false, you don't have to immediately process that and give them a response. You can simply listen and say, okay, well, thank you for sharing that with me. And then when you get an opportunity to digest it and process it, not immediately, but you take your time with it, you'll be able to figure out the things of what they said that may resonate true with you or internally with you. And then you'll figure out the things that, that really just seems to be a little bit of noise. It's not really connecting with what I see or what I feel for myself. It's maybe something I could be a little more aware of, but it's not what I see for myself. So that's what that is about, taking that time to process. What it does is it takes the immediate need to response, which quelches the immediate need to be to go on counterattack. It quelches the immediate need to apply energy to offense or defense. It quelches the immediate need to throw yourself off balance from being not necessarily a pushover, but going into bulldozer mode. It takes that and it says, you know what? I have time to figure this out. Hey, what's going on, Cousin Brian? I have time to figure this out. I have time to roll this around a little bit, and it doesn't require an immediate response. And then once you actually have time to process it, you might find yourself going back to that person and thanking them for coming and giving the information that you obviously didn't have yourself, or you would have made certain changes prior to them giving you that information. Or maybe you did know that you needed to change it, and now that they're giving you the information, you're like, oh shoot, other people can see this, and I thought it was just me that could see this. I really need to start working on this. So that's the 4 tools that I came up with tonight. I want to be really quick as I can tonight on the Wednesday Word, but I want to go over them really quickly. The 4 tools that I came up with for defensive loss. The first tool being avoid going into counterattack mode. Don't have to fire shots back just because one is on its way. The second is understand where to apply your energy. Again, that is offense, defense, and indifference. Indifference costs you 0 energy. Well, for me, it cost me a little bit of energy because I'm not the most patient person. So it costs me a little energy to be patient. But as I get better at it, it costs less energy. We'll call it that. The third tool being find balance, figure out the good harmony between being a pushover and being a bulldozer, and try to keep that center line balanced in your life. And then the fourth and the final tool being take time to process. Things may come at you at any given moment in the day. It does not necessarily require you to immediately process it and fire back a response. And again, taking time to process will help you with the other 3 tools. So as with every Wednesday Word, I like to share a personal story that kind of got me thinking about the topic, that kind of just like had me roll around with the idea and the things in life that I have either lost or maybe just lost because of a defensive mentality or a defensive personality. The defensiveness that has cost me loss of opportunities in my life. And so I thought back to actually the time when I used to do IT recruiting. And as an IT recruiter, you're in sales, and so it's a really competitive environment in and of itself. And so as a sales environment, you want to be the person that people feel they can go to. If they need to get something done, you're their guy. You'll get it done. We can go to Billy. He can take care of anything. I wasn't that high in the ranking of the guy to go to in IT sales. I had great rapport with people, but there were certain things that I was still learning from an aspect of information technology that kind of kept me a little more timid in the sales department, in the selling of the sales department. Whereas now I have a much more greater understanding of IT, and I would have no problem being in IT sales. So nor here nor there. But one of the things that I remember when I was getting ready to leave the IT department is, well, there was a couple of things, but a couple of experiences that I had. There was experiences where I was given feedback by peers. And I remember in a lot of those things, I would be very defensive. I'd be like, oh, well, you just don't understand. And, oh, you this, that, and the other. And, oh, blah, 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 blah. And so it came to this point where when the housing market went down and they ended up letting go of a lot of people out of the office, I was one of the people who ended up being let go. And so in the time when I was getting ready to be let go, I sat and I talked with one of my managers and was like, what would your feedback be for me in order to have been more successful here? Not necessarily that I wouldn't be let go because they let go of a lot of people, but to have been more successful here with my time. And he said, Billy, I think the thing for you is when you go into your next organization or when you go into any organization, the thing that I would recommend for you is to identify who you want to make your ally, because then when your allies come to you and give you feedback, you're less likely to be defensive. You're less likely to be abrasive to that feedback. You're more receptive to it. I think here what you did a lot of the time is when somebody tried to give you feedback, or maybe, you know, they could have been picking on me, it doesn't really matter, or they could have just simply wanted to help me get better. Either way, when they were giving me either I just want to get under your skin or I just want to make you better feedback, I always received it as you're my enemy. And because you're my enemy, I have to close my gates. I have to erect my walls and keep myself safe. And then when you get close enough, I have to throw fireballs over the side of my castle to make sure I burn you up so you don't ever come back again. That's how I reacted to that. And so overall, I would have lost this opportunity anyway, just because of the fact of the market, the way the market went and the way the housing market collapsed in 2008. I would have lost it anyway. But there were other aspects of my job that I probably could have taken advantage of, maybe even promotions that I could have taken advantage of had I have been in a less defensive state. And so that's really what tonight's Wednesday Word is about that defensive loss concept of don't be so caught up in building defenses that you lose and miss opportunities that are really good opportunities for you in life. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the Wednesday Word. I hope you guys have been enjoying all the content that has been on the first row. I actually do have something else that I want to share with you guys tonight, and it will be, I'll place it in the description of this video. But starting today, if you have a topic idea that you would like discussed on a Wednesday Word, you can actually email us at topics@firstrow.com. That is topics@firstrow, 1STWROE.com. And if you email us a topic at firstrow.com and we use your topic, what we will do is we will respond to you, let you know, hey, thanks for the topic. We'll thank you, probably everybody for the topics, but we'll thank you for your topic. We'll let you know what day your topic will be on air, and we'll actually make sure we give you a shout out during that live video. So again, if you want to be able to give some of the content ideas, again, this is an interactive channel. So if you want to be able to give some content ideas, get involved in these conversations and be a part of the content production, then go ahead and email topics@firstrow.com. Again, we will take that topic, let you know when it's going to be aired live, give you a shout out on a live video as well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the Wednesday Word. Don't forget to tune in on Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Keeping It Real Estate, how to sell your home fast and for top dollar. Don't forget to tune in on the last Tuesday of the month, which is next Tuesday. I think it's the 26th. Yep, Tuesday, the 26th of February at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to have the next First Row panel, and that will be on resolving mommy and daddy issues. So until the next time, if you haven't liked this video yet, please like it, because likes help us move up the rankings on YouTube. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button. There will be a bell next to it. Click that bell so you can be notified when we are live on the First Row. We got a seat for you every week. First Row, a couple times a week, you got a seat on the First Row. But other than that, thank you guys for tuning in live. I look forward to seeing you guys next week on the First Row. If you like this video, share it. If you share it, like it. We're always happy to engage with you in the comments and or in the live chat. And other than that, one love, peace, and God bless.